All right, so here we are. We're back talking about oh man, we're talking about some good stuff today, some stuff that is impacting, like you see there in the title, right? It's impacting over half of the people here in the United States. It's definitely one of these things that is not being talked about. I don't know why it's not being discussed. I guess it's one of those things that's just affecting so many people, but it's one of those things that's affecting us now, as well as has the potential of having real long-term ramifications. And I'm going to talk about the research, the science that's there, the resources that are there for you, because that's really the most important thing is how do we get these things addressed and taken care of for the long term? Because otherwise, just doomed to be in a bad place. Um, the other thing is this is like all of this that we're dealing with right now and coronavirus and everything else and what we're dealing with on a wide scale is that it's like drinking from a toxic fire hydrant. And whenever you have that much that's going on, it starts to affect so many different things, mentally, physically, all of that. So we've got to look at things differently in all of this. So I'm going to talk about some different things that are going on there too, and what's happening. And what all I'm talking about with all this is that nearly half of Americans are now reporting. This is according to the to a huge poll that they did. The Kaiser Family Foundation did a poll, and they said that basically this. They said that half of Americans are reporting that this coronavirus is harming their mental health, and that basically that the federal emergency hotline and people that emotional distress is going up over 1,000% right now as compared to last year when we look at that. And when I say that, I want you to realize this. I want you to realize that when I'm saying that, some people might instantly think, well, that doesn't affect me, but it does affect your neighbor, your loved one, your coworkers, other people that are on your team or your kids' teams or things like that. This is rampant, and I'm seeing it just out in my community too, and I'm sure that you are too. Like the level of stress and the amount of things that are going on right now that we're just thinking about, that the load that we're under is just huge. When things like that happen, they have long-term ramifications. So let me talk about that just for a short bit, and then we're going to get into some of the other things about this too. Like the long-term ramifications of these things are like, I went for a walk in my neighborhood that's around here by the office. I was walking around and there's a little kid, he's playing on the sidewalk. And as he's playing on the sidewalk, he's looking there and he's just playing with cars and toys and doing his thing and all that kind of stuff. And he looks up at me and sees me as I'm walking by. He's on the side of the sidewalk. His mom's out there too, like working in the garden. His mom waves to me, "Hey, how are you?" You know, we smile and wave and do that kind of thing. As I'm walking by, this little kid looks up at me and sees me, and I'm not even close to the kid, but the kid looks at me and he goes, "No, stay away, germs." That's literally what he said. He's probably like 3 or 4. I'm looking at that and thinking, what are going to be those long-term ramifications that this kid's going to have? Because when these kind of things happen, like when these kind of things strike, like a type of pandemic, whatever it is that we're dealing with right now, right? That the societal injuries that happen, they cast a long shadow of not just weeks, months, years. Like this can devastate everything and wreak carnage as far as it happens for families, for so many people. And it's just one of those things that is not being talked about. I'm seeing in my practice when I'm talking to patients that they're telling me, they're like, man, the amount of stress I'm under is just crazy. And they're telling me, like my headspace is going to a dark place, and I'm going to places that I don't really want to think about. And I'm not concerned about myself or my health or anything, but I just find myself just dealing with so much stress so much that I just can't believe the headspace that I get into. I say that because that's not what I like. Mental health is not what I do. I'm going to give you resources for that because this isn't what I do. But as a primary healthcare physician and primary care physician for my patients in my community, like I find it necessary to talk about these things because if I'm seeing this in my practice and I'm seeing it out in my community, I'm certain you are too. Like if you're seeing that too, like comment, because I want to make sure other people know that, oh yeah, it's not just me. It's not just us. It's not just what Dr. Vidan's seeing or what I'm seeing too. Like make a comment. Yeah, thank you. Because other people need to know that these things are true. They don't need to think that it's a hidden thing. So much of this stuff, like with stress and mental health and just the issues that we're under with all this stuff, people like want to hide that stuff. They're like, well, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that in my family or around anybody else or anything like that, because that's for whatever our own thought process is on that, right? Like we have to all realize that these are things that we need to be talking about with each other and having open dialogue and conversations with it, because with this being hugely stressful time. Like just they did a whole study too. I'll just point out this other study that they were done through healthcare providers at Ginger, right? So that 7 out of 10 employees are indicating that their mental stress is so high. It's the most stressful time in their entire professional career, right? So I'm sure a lot of people are dealing with that too, and the fact that I'm being asked to do more. I've got more stress on me too, and then the environment of this is incredibly stressful too. I've got to be here and produce. And if I don't have kids, I'm actually asked to produce more because I've got to pick up the slack for other people. That's what I'm hearing from patients. And then the patients that have kids at home, they've got to be mom, dad, and they've got to be right. They've got to be the teacher at home too. So all of these things are going on, and we're seeing a huge spike in increase of and depression, anxiety, anti-insomnia medications. All of that is being increased by at least 20+% that they're seeing just right now going on. And when we start to see that, it's like, what are we supposed to do with this? If this is having a major impact on our mental health, and we're seeing a quarter of our people that are reporting it and talking about it, and when we're seeing those things that are going on, and we're seeing 1,000% increase on these things, and Mayo Clinic is looking at it and saying, look, we're hitting a period of uncertainty where there's a lot of people asking themselves, how long can I keep this up before I start to burn out? Right? The teapot can only boil for so long until it starts to explode. And I'm sure that each one of us has noticed, like, my tolerance for dealing things gets to be smaller and smaller. So what about people that are under a huge amount of stress? What about people that are under, it doesn't even matter if they're under a huge amount of stress, they're just under a lot of stress. We're not talking about things that we can do to help each other. And we're not talking about that. So I wanted to make sure I mention it and we talk about this. I'm going to talk a little bit more and give you a couple other things too, because this is from the American Psychological Association. I just looked this up to see, like, what kind of things can I share with you. And they're talking about the fact that there's these healthy techniques that are out there for psychological research that's shown to help reduce stress in the short term and the long term. One of the things is smile and laugh, right? Like that seems like such a easy one, but you're in a bad space. It's hard to smile and laugh. But smiling, laughing, like, we have a rule in my house right now. We only watch things that are funny. That's it. Like, only watching things that are funny. People can look at that and go, well, you're choosing to ignore things. You're choosing to ignore what's going on. Or it's not it. It's that otherwise we're being inundated. We're being inundated by so much information that gets to be so much. Like, that gets to be a lot, right? Get social support. Like, are you supporting those other people that are around you that you can help and that you can be there for? Right now, like, are you calling a friend? Are you shooting a text? Are you sending emails? If I haven't called you and texted you, I apologize, but know that I love you and I care about you. And shoot me a text, like, shoot me a message, because I want you to know that I do care about you and that I am here for you. And we're trying to make sure that we let our patient base and our friends and our family all know that too. Like, I call my Nana, she's my grandma, right? So I call my Nana regularly. I make sure that we're calling her. My uncle goes over there and sits with her because he can't be with her. He sits outside her sliding glass door and they have conversations and coffee between the door, right? And they just talk to each other. He goes over there every day and does that. I call her. I have my kids get on the phone with her just to brighten up her day, right? And there's a lot of people in our community like that too. My daughter, I'm so proud of her. My 9-year-old daughter, she's 10 now. She's 10. She wrote handwritten notes to every single one of our neighbors in our neighborhood just to give them positive and powerful words of encouragement, to let them know, hey, I know this is tough right now, but we're going to get through this together. And we're here for you. And I'm one of your neighbors and I'm praying for you and I'm thinking about you. Like, those are little things that start to add up to be positive things too, right? Take a break from the stressor that's there for you too. Like, if you can take a break, like, what can you do? Can you add in positive things, right? Can you do those things that make you laugh and bring that, or take a break from those stressors that are going on there too? Those are some of the things. I'll put the resources and all those kind of things in there for you so that you can see and you can go and look at things for yourself, right? Psychology Today, they quoted the World Health Organization. They were talking about the emphasizing the preventative care plays a crucial role in fighting coronavirus. Here's the thing. A lot of people are talking about the only thing to help with coronavirus is going to be this. But World Health Organization is talking about this one thing right here that was quoted in Psychology Today. And they talked about it's helpful to boost your coping in an effort to improve your overall well-being. I've talked about before that some people are saying there's no way of boosting your ability to improve your overall well-being and health. And that's just not true. And it's being talked about more and more that the headspace side of it, like our mental health of this, is going up. Like, the stress that we're dealing with, and we've got to make sure people are searching for it. One of the most searched things right now online on Google, you can look it up yourself and see, one of the most searched things is positive quotes in dealing with coronavirus. Do you not think that we're searching for things to help us in a positive way? Like, we want that. We want to be positive because right now everything is so stressed and just depressing and putting down, and creates anxiety and creates so many things because there's so much uncertainty. We've got to make sure that we're watching for behavioral changes in our kids too, because they're going to express things a lot differently too. And the way that we respond to it carries the load of how they're going to see us react to it as well, right? So make sure you're doing those things, like stay connected with your family and friends and Skype and FaceTime and email and Messenger and text. There's a lot of people that are isolated, and whenever you're feeling isolated, these are ways for us to connect, right? Like, I'm hoping that you're hearing this and going, yeah, these are things that we need to do. Like, we can talk things through. Just being able to talk and being able to connect with people. I'm going to give you resources that are there that are free, and some of them have low costs. But you can telehealth with somebody. You can get on these hotlines that you can end up calling, where if you're feeling depression or sadness or anxiety, the thing is that if we don't take care of these things right now, the long-term ramifications of this is going to be devastating. I mean, devastating. It's going to be one of those things where it casts, like they said, casts a long shadow, right? When it casts that kind of long shadow, like, now is the time for us to be addressing these things. Not like, oh, well, I'll deal with it whenever I have more time and I can focus more on that. No, no, no. We need to be looking at that right now. So we have to address these major impacts now so that it doesn't become long-term problems, so that we can then make sure that we're taking care of it now before we hit that point of burnout, before we hit the point of that pressure cooker, right? And that boiling point to where it just goes so sky high that we're in a place where it's so hard to deal with. Doesn't mean it can't come back from it, but it just is such a hard place to come back from. It's a lot more work. So let's start taking care of that now and taking care of each other now. I hope that you found value in this. Like, I really do. Every Wednesday and Friday, I'm making sure to put these things out. I'm getting a lot of you that are messaging me, and patients that are coming in and saying thanks. And I know a lot of people are sharing this. This is definitely one that I'm going to say, share with other people. Like, share on your page, message it to somebody, do that kind of thing. This is not for me. Like, I don't deal with this. This is for other people in our community that need to hear these things, because they're feeling like, a lot of us are feeling alone, that are feeling alone in the idea that only I can deal with this and only I am going to be the one that deals with this. That's not true. We're all dealing with this together, and we should all be there for one another in understanding of that. And if you need other people that are like, this is what they do as a counselor, a professional, a psychologist, psychiatrist, they're there for you too. But there's a lot of these hotlines that I'm gonna post for you as well, so that you have that, so that you can get the help that you need, or that you can share with others too that they need as well. So I'll be back here on Friday. I'm going to put the comments in there for you too. I'll put the things that you have as far as resources that are there. I have patients that this is what they do, and what they're telling me is that the amount of calls that they're getting is just exponential right now. I say that because I want you again to realize it's not just, you're not alone in this, that there's a lot of people that are dealing with these things, and right now they need to know that they're not alone too. And you need to know that if you're listening to this, that you're not alone in this as well, and that people are there to help and hear and listen and be able to help you in any way that they can. If we're in this together, which is what the thing that we're seeing as a common trend, then let's be there for each other and listen and point direct at where people can go. If you're hearing from somebody that they're having issues, or they're even talking and just a hint of those kind of things going on, just a hint of it, they need to be listening to this and having the resources that we're going to put on there sent to them too. Because a lot of times we just don't think about where we need to be going and looking for these things. So I'm going to put that in the comments for you. Again, I'm Dr. Vidan. I don't even think I said my name, but I'm Dr. Vidan, and I'm here to help however I can. And hopefully you're finding value in these things. I'm going to direct them things. Thank y'all for the comments, right? That if there's any other things that you have questions about or comments or anything, I'm just trying to make sure I'm providing value, research, and resources for you to help as many people as we possibly can here. So again, I'm Dr. Vidan. Share this with some people, because you never know who else is out there that's suffering in silence right now, that's just silently suffering with these things, that it's just not being talked about. It's not out there at all. So again, everybody, I'm Dr. Vidan. I will see you on Friday at 1:30 Central Time, and I'll be bringing you more things to help you with research and resources to help you and your community. Talk soon.